HOA Karen entered my home at midnight and unplugged my daughter's oxygen machine, leaving her to die. At 2:47 a.m., alarms woke me to find Emma turning blue, fighting for air. Security footage revealed Karen's cold-blooded murder attempt. 48 hours later, she stood in court and received the death penalty. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The alarm sound woke me up at 2:47 a.m. That terrible sound still gives me nightmares today. I jumped out of bed. My heart was beating fast. The oxygen machine alarm. Emma's oxygen machine. I ran to my daughter's room as fast as I could. I hit the wall but didn't stop. Emma was struggling to breathe. Her small body was fighting for air. Her lips were turning blue. Emma. Baby, please hold on. My hands were shaking. I looked at the oxygen machine. Then I saw something that made my blood freeze. The plug was on the floor. Someone had pulled it out from the wall. The backup battery was dead. I plugged it back in quickly. The machine started working again. Oxygen began flowing through the mask. Emma's breathing slowly became better. Her color started coming back. But she was so weak. I held her small hand and cried. My 7-year-old daughter almost died. In our own home. Where she should be safe. Emma was born with a severe lung condition. The doctors said she needed oxygen support 24 hours a day. Without it, she could die within minutes. Every parent in the hospital knew this. Every nurse knew this. I had told everyone in our neighborhood about it. I called 911. The ambulance came fast. They took Emma to the hospital. The doctors said we got lucky. 5 more minutes and my daughter would have died. But who unplugged the machine? Who would do such an evil thing? The next morning, I checked our security camera. We had installed one in the hallway after some packages went missing. What I saw on that video made me sick to my stomach. At 11:34 p.m., our HOA president, Karen Whitmore, had entered our home. She used the spare key we kept under the mat for emergencies. She walked straight to Emma's room. She looked at my sleeping daughter. Then she reached down and pulled the oxygen plug from the wall. She didn't rush. She didn't look guilty. She pulled out that plug like she was unplugging a lamp. Then she walked out of our house like nothing happened. I watched that video 10 times. Each time, I felt more anger burning inside me. This woman almost murdered my child. On purpose. Calmly. Without any care. My wife Sarah came home from the hospital. I showed her the video. She couldn't speak for 5 minutes. She just stared at the screen with tears running down her face. Then she screamed. She screamed so loud that our neighbors came running. I called the police immediately. Detective Rodriguez came to our house within an hour. I showed him the video. His face went pale. "This is attempted murder," he said quietly. "This is one of the sickest things I've ever seen. Why would she do this?" Sarah asked, her voice breaking. "What did we ever do to her?" That's when everything started making sense. All the small fights we had with Karen over the past 6 months. All the complaints. All the threats. It started when we moved to Sunset Gardens community 3 years ago. Everything was fine at first. Then Karen became the HOA president 18 months ago. That's when our nightmare began. Karen was obsessed with rules. Every tiny thing had to be perfect. Your grass had to be exactly 3 inches tall. Your house color had to match the approved list. Your car couldn't be parked on the street for more than 2 hours. We tried to follow all the rules. But having a sick child made things difficult. Sometimes we forgot to bring in the trash cans on time. Sometimes the grass grew a little too long because we were at the hospital with Emma. Karen didn't care about our reasons. She gave us fines. $25 here. $50 there. The fines kept coming. Then 3 months ago, we needed to install a medical generator outside our house. Emma's oxygen machine needed backup power. If the electricity went out, Emma could die. The generator was loud, but it was necessary to keep our daughter alive. Karen said no. The generator was too ugly and made too much noise. She said it violated HOA rules about exterior modifications. I tried to explain that this was a medical necessity. Sarah brought hospital papers proving Emma needed this equipment to survive. We begged Karen to understand. She didn't care. She said rules were rules. She threatened to fine us $100 every day until we removed the generator. I had to hire a lawyer. It cost us $3,000 we didn't have. The lawyer proved that federal disability laws protected our right to install medical equipment. Karen had to let us keep the generator. But she was furious about losing. After that, Karen made our lives hell. She followed us around the neighborhood looking for violations. She measured our grass with a ruler. She took pictures of our car if we parked 1 inch over the line. She sent us violation letters almost every week. 2 months ago, she knocked on our door at 10 p.m. Emma was sleeping. The knock woke her up and scared her. Emma had an anxiety attack and needed extra oxygen for 2 hours. I opened the door angry. I told Karen to never knock that late again. My daughter was sick and needed her rest. Karen smiled. It was a cold, mean smile. Your daughter is the one making all that machine noise at night, she said. The humming from that oxygen machine bothers me. It's noise pollution. I want it stopped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. That machine keeps my daughter alive, I said slowly. You want me to turn off the machine that keeps her alive? I want peace and quiet in my neighborhood, Karen said. If you can't follow the rules, maybe you should move somewhere else. Sarah heard this from inside. She came to the door, furious. How dare you, she shouted. My daughter is fighting for her life, and you're worried about noise? What kind of monster are you? Karen's face turned red. Don't you dare call me a monster. I'm just trying to maintain property values. Your medical equipment and constant ambulance visits are bringing down everyone's home prices. That's when I lost my temper. I'm ashamed of it now, but I called her some very bad names. I told her she was a heartless witch who cared more about property values than human life. I told her to get off my property and never come back. She left, but not before saying something that should have warned me. You'll regret this, she said quietly. I always get what I want in the end. 1 week later, she unplugged my daughter's oxygen machine. Detective Rodriguez arrested Karen at her house the next morning. I insisted on being there. I needed to see her face when they put handcuffs on her. She opened the door in her bathrobe, looking annoyed. What is this about? She demanded. Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest for attempted murder, Detective Rodriguez said. Her face went white. What? That's ridiculous. I didn't try to murder anyone. We have you on video, I said, stepping forward. We have you on camera unplugging my daughter's oxygen machine. You tried to kill her. For just a second, I saw fear in her eyes. Then she put on a fake confused expression. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do such a thing. Save it for the judge, Detective Rodriguez said, turning her around to put on the handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. As they led her away, she looked back at me. The hate in her eyes was so strong it made me step back. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't scared. She was just angry she got caught. The next 48 hours were a blur. The story hit the local news. Then it went national. HOA president attempts to murder 7-year-old girl was on every channel. People were outraged. Our doorbell didn't stop ringing. Reporters wanted interviews. Neighbors we barely knew brought food and flowers. Everyone wanted to know why Karen did it. The police searched Karen's house. They found a journal. In that journal, Karen had written her plans. She had been planning this for weeks. The Anderson family needs to be taught a lesson, one entry said. They think they're special because of their sick daughter. They think they can ignore HOA rules. I'll show them they're not above the law. If that little brat dies, maybe they'll finally move away. Reading those words made me vomit. This woman had planned to murder my child. She wrote about it like she was planning a grocery trip. No emotion. No guilt. Just cold, calculated evil. Sarah couldn't read the journal. She started having panic attacks. She couldn't sleep. Every small sound made her jump. She was terrified Karen had friends who might try to finish what she started. We installed better locks. We got a security system. We moved Emma's room to one without outside windows. We took turns staying awake at night to watch over her. Our home became a prison, and we were too scared to leave. Emma didn't understand everything that happened. She knew someone had hurt her, but we tried to protect her from the full truth. But she noticed that Mommy cried all the time. She noticed that Daddy looked angry and tired. She noticed we were all afraid. Did I do something bad? Emma asked me one night. Is that why the mean lady hurt me? My heart broke into a million pieces. I hugged my daughter and cried. No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. You're perfect. That lady was sick in her head. She made a very bad choice. But she's gone now, and she can't hurt you anymore. Promise? Emma whispered. I promise, I said. But inside, I was terrified. What if Karen made bail? What if she came back? The bail hearing was 2 days after her arrest. The prosecutor asked for no bail. She argued that Karen was extremely dangerous. She showed the video. She read from the journal. She explained how Karen showed no remorse. Karen's lawyer argued that she was a respected member of the community. She had no criminal record. She had elderly parents who needed her care. She wasn't a flight risk. The judge watched the video 3 times. His face got harder with each viewing. Then he read several pages of Karen's journal. When he finished, he looked at Karen with pure disgust. I've been a judge for 23 years, he said. I've seen murderers, rapists, and terrorists. But I've never seen anything as cold-blooded as this. You didn't kill this child in a moment of anger. You planned it. You wrote about it. You walked into her room and calmly tried to murder a sleeping 7-year-old girl who needs medical equipment to survive. He paused and looked at Karen directly. If you had succeeded, you would be charged with first-degree murder. The only reason you're not is because a parent woke up in time. You showed planning, premeditation, and complete disregard for human life. Bail is denied. You will remain in custody until trial. Karen started crying. Fake tears. Crocodile tears. But Your Honor, I have rights. I'm innocent until proven guilty. You were caught on camera, the judge said coldly. The evidence is overwhelming. You're a danger to that child and her family. Bail denied. As they took her away, she turned and glared at me. The hate was still there. Even facing life in prison, she still hated us for daring to live in her perfect neighborhood with our sick child. The trial came faster than expected. The prosecutor said the evidence was so clear that there was no point in delaying. Karen hired an expensive lawyer from the city. He tried everything to defend her. He claimed the video was faked. It wasn't. He claimed Karen was sleepwalking. Medical experts proved she wasn't. He claimed it was an accident. The journal entries proved it wasn't. He claimed Karen was mentally ill and didn't understand what she was doing. 3 psychiatrists examined her and said she knew exactly what she was doing. The trial lasted 8 days. I attended every single day. Sarah came when she could, but someone had to stay with Emma. The hospital visits continued. Emma's condition wasn't getting better, and the stress was making it worse. On day 3, they played the security video in court. I had to watch it again on a huge screen. I had to watch Karen walk into my home. I had to watch her enter Emma's room. I had to watch her reach down and unplug the oxygen machine. Several jury members gasped. 2 women started crying. One man looked like he wanted to jump over the barrier and attack Karen himself. The prosecutor asked me to testify on day 5. I told the jury everything. I described Emma's condition. I explained how the oxygen machine kept her alive. I talked about finding Emma struggling to breathe, her lips turning blue. I described the terror of almost losing my child. How did it make you feel to watch the security footage? The prosecutor asked. Like I failed to protect my daughter, I said, my voice breaking. I'm her father. My job is to keep her safe. Someone walked into our home and tried to kill her while I was sleeping down the hall. I'll never forgive myself for not waking up sooner. Sarah testified on day 6. She could barely speak through her tears. She described Emma's birth, the diagnosis, the years of hospital visits, and the constant fear of losing her. She talked about the generator fight with Karen and the harassment that followed. Did you ever think Karen would try to hurt Emma? The prosecutor asked. No, Sarah sobbed. She was mean, but I never thought she would try to murder our child. Who does that? What kind of person looks at a sleeping 7-year-old on life support and decides to kill her? The defense lawyer tried to make Sarah look like a bad mother. He asked if she always watched Emma carefully. He asked if she had ever left Emma alone. He suggested that maybe the plug accident happened because Sarah wasn't responsible enough. I saw red. I started to stand up, but Detective Rodriguez grabbed my arm. Don't, he whispered. Don't give them a reason to declare a mistrial. Sarah handled it better than I could have. She looked the lawyer right in the eye. I have spent every day for 7 years taking care of my daughter, she said firmly. I've slept in hospital chairs. I've learned to use medical equipment. I've given up my career to be her full-time caregiver. And yes, I sleep at night, because I trusted that my home was safe. I trusted that no one would break into my house and try to murder my child. If that makes me a bad mother, then I guess I'm guilty. The jury loved her. I could see it in their faces. They were on our side. Karen testified on day 7. Her lawyer had tried to keep her off the stand, but she insisted. She thought she could talk her way out of it. She was wrong. I admit I went into the Anderson house that night, she said. But I was trying to help. I heard the machine making a strange noise. I thought it was malfunctioning. I unplugged it to reset it, but then I got confused and forgot to plug it back in. It was an honest mistake. The prosecutor destroyed her story. If you were trying to help, why didn't you knock on the door? Why didn't you call 911? Why did you use a hidden spare key to enter without permission? Why did you write in your journal 2 weeks earlier that you wanted the little brat to die so the family would move away? Karen's face went red. She tried to explain away the journal entries. I was just venting. Everyone vents in their private journals. I didn't mean it literally. You wrote, and I quote, if that oxygen machine mysteriously stopped working one night, problem solved. They can't stay in the neighborhood without the brat. Does that sound like venting to you? I was angry. I didn't really mean it. You wrote those words 10 days before you entered their home and unplugged the machine. That sounds like premeditation to me. The prosecutor showed the security video again. Can you explain to the jury why you're smiling in this video? Right here, as you walk away from unplugging a machine keeping a child alive, you smile. Why? Karen had no answer. She just sat there, trapped in her own lies. The closing arguments happened on day 8. The defense lawyer tried his best. He painted Karen as a misunderstood woman who made a terrible mistake. He asked the jury to show mercy. The prosecutor was devastating. This is not a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. Mistakes are when you forget someone's birthday or put salt instead of sugar in coffee. This was attempted murder. Premeditated, calculated, cold-blooded attempted murder of a helpless 7-year-old child. Karen Whitmore planned this crime. She wrote about it in her journal. She waited until the family was asleep. She used a hidden key to enter their home illegally. She walked into a child's room, looked at that child sleeping peacefully, and decided to kill her by unplugging her life support. She didn't rush. She didn't panic. She calmly pulled that plug, knowing full well that it would kill Emma Anderson within minutes. Then she walked out, smiling, thinking she got away with murder. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if Emma's father had woken up just 5 minutes later, we would be trying Karen Whitmore for first-degree murder instead of attempted murder. The only reason Emma Anderson is alive today is luck. Pure luck. Not because of anything Karen did. She left that child to die. The prosecutor paused and looked at each jury member. Emma Anderson is 7 years old. She loves Disney movies. She wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. She has a stuffed bunny named Fluffy that she sleeps with every night. She's a real child with real dreams and a real life ahead of her. Karen Whitmore tried to take all of that away because she was annoyed about a property dispute. This woman values her peace and quiet more than a child's life. She values her property prices more than human existence. She is dangerous. She is unrepentant. And she deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. 3 hours that felt like 3 years. Sarah and I sat in the hallway holding hands, praying for justice. When the jury came back, their faces were serious. That was a good sign. The judge asked for the verdict. On the charge of attempted first-degree murder, we find the defendant guilty. Sarah collapsed in my arms, sobbing. I felt relief wash over me like a wave. Justice. Finally, justice. But the jury wasn't done. The foreman continued reading. We also find the defendant guilty of breaking and entering, assault with intent to kill, and child endangerment. Karen's face went white. She started shaking. Her lawyer put his hand on her shoulder, but she pushed him away. She still didn't understand that her actions had consequences. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In that time, we tried to return to normal life. But normal didn't exist anymore. Emma was getting worse. The stress and trauma of that night had damaged her already weak lungs. She needed more oxygen than before. She was sleeping more. The doctors were worried. I was terrified we had saved her from Karen only to lose her anyway. The sentencing hearing finally arrived. The courtroom was packed. Our neighbors came to support us. Reporters filled the back rows. Everyone wanted to know what punishment Karen would get. The judge asked if Karen wanted to speak before sentencing. Her lawyer advised her to apologize and show remorse. She refused. I'm the victim here, Karen said, standing up. The real criminals are the Andersons. They moved into a nice, quiet neighborhood and brought chaos. Their sick child depressed property values. Their medical equipment created noise. Their constant drama and ambulances disturbed the peace. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She still thought she was the victim. I worked hard to maintain our community standards, Karen continued. I volunteered my time as HOA president. I tried to keep everyone happy. But the Andersons refused to follow simple rules. They thought they were special. They thought their sick kid gave them permission to ignore community guidelines. I made a mistake that night, yes. But they pushed me to it. They stressed me out with their constant complaints and legal threats. They made my life miserable. So maybe I wanted to scare them a little. Maybe I wanted them to understand that actions have consequences. But I never truly wanted to hurt that child. The judge's face was red with anger. "Sit down, Ms. Whitmore," he said coldly. "Sit down before I add contempt of court to your charges." Karen sat down, but she looked defiant, not sorry. The judge shuffled his papers. "I've been a judge for 2 decades, he began. "I've sentenced hundreds of criminals. Thieves, rapists, drug dealers, and killers. But I've never encountered anyone quite like you, Ms. Whitmore. You had no reason to harm Emma Anderson. She never hurt you. She didn't choose to be sick. She was just a child trying to survive. But because her medical needs inconvenienced you, because her family dared to stand up to your petty tyranny, you decided she deserved to die. You planned it. You wrote about it. You executed it with chilling calm. And even now, after being convicted by a jury of your peers, you show no remorse. You still believe you're the victim. That level of narcissism and cruelty is terrifying." The judge paused. The courtroom was completely silent. Everyone waited for his next words. Attempted first-degree murder of a child typically carries a sentence of 15 to 25 years. However, given the premeditated nature of your crime, your complete lack of remorse, and the particularly vulnerable nature of your victim, I'm sentencing you to the maximum penalty allowed by law. I hereby sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 40 years. The courtroom erupted. Karen screamed. Her lawyer argued. Sarah sobbed in relief. I just sat there, numb, trying to process what I heard. Life in prison. 40 years minimum. Karen would be 93 years old before she could even apply for parole. Justice. Real justice. Karen was dragged out of the courtroom, screaming about appeals and unfair treatment. I never wanted to see her face again. After the sentencing, reporters surrounded us. I gave a brief statement. Justice was served today. But our fight isn't over. Emma is still sick. She still needs our care and protection. We're just grateful that the person who tried to harm her can never hurt her or anyone else again. The next few months were difficult. Emma's condition improved slowly. The doctors said the stress had caused a temporary setback, but with proper care, she would recover to her previous baseline. It wasn't perfect, but it was life. Sarah started therapy to deal with her trauma. She had nightmares about that night. She would wake up panicking, rushing to Emma's room to check if she was breathing. The therapist said it would take time, but she would heal. I had my own struggles. I felt guilty for not protecting my daughter. I replayed that night over and over, thinking about what I could have done differently. But my therapist helped me understand that I wasn't the villain in this story. Karen was. I was just a father who loved his daughter and did everything he could to save her. The HOA dissolved after Karen's conviction. Most of the board members resigned in shame. The few neighbors who had supported Karen's strict rules moved away quietly. The rest of the community became much friendlier and more supportive. Our new neighbors brought food. They offered to babysit Emma so Sarah and I could have date nights. They donated money to help with our medical bills. They proved that most people are good, even if a few monsters hide among us. 6 months after Karen's sentencing, something amazing happened. A new experimental treatment for Emma's lung condition became available. It was expensive, but between our insurance, donations from the community, and a fundraiser our church organized, we could afford it. The treatment worked. Not perfectly, but better than we dreamed. Emma still needed oxygen, but not 24/7 anymore. She could go to school for a few hours. She could play with other kids. She could have some of the normal childhood that had been stolen from her. On Emma's 8th birthday, we threw a party. 20 kids from the neighborhood came. Emma wore a princess dress and a small portable oxygen tank decorated with Disney stickers. She ran around playing games, laughing, and just being a kid. I watched her blow out her birthday candles, surrounded by friends and family, and I cried. Happy tears this time. My daughter was alive. She was smiling. She had a future. Karen tried to take that away. She tried to kill my baby because of noise complaints and property values. She tried to snuff out an innocent life over petty neighborhood disputes. But she failed. Emma survived. Emma thrived. And Karen would spend the rest of her life in a prison cell, thinking about what she had done. People ask me if I forgive Karen. The answer is no. I don't forgive her, and I never will. She tried to murder my child. She planned it, executed it, and showed no remorse. That's not something you forgive. But I don't think about her anymore. I don't let her live rent-free in my head. She's gone, locked away where she can never hurt anyone again. My focus now is on Emma, on Sarah, on our family, and on living the best life we can. Emma still asks about the mean lady sometimes. We tell her that the mean lady made a very bad choice and is being punished for it. We tell her that most people are good and kind. We teach her that one person's evil doesn't represent all humanity. As I write this, Emma is sleeping peacefully in her room. Her oxygen machine hums quietly in the background. The sound used to make me anxious. Now it's comforting. It means she's breathing. It means she's alive. It means we won. Karen Whitmore tried to silence that sound forever. She tried to silence my daughter's breathing, her laughter, her dreams, and her life. But she failed. Emma is still here. Emma is strong. Emma is a survivor. And me? I'm just a father who loves his daughter more than anything in the world. A father who will do anything to protect her. A father who got a second chance and will never take it for granted. The oxygen machine keeps humming. Emma keeps breathing. Life goes on. And somewhere in a prison cell, Karen Whitmore sits alone with her regrets, knowing that her obsession with rules and property values cost her everything, while the child she tried to kill grows stronger every day. That's justice. That's karma. That's the ending this story deserved. Emma is alive. That's all that matters. Everything else is just details.